Jordan Peterson on with Dr. Oz. They dropped this episode recently, and as you would expect, they cover health and weight loss. This clip that we're referring to and going to pull some clips out of why people are having trouble losing weight.
Yeah, two very smart guys.
Two very smart guys, but is it fair, Trainer Joe, even though I know you appreciate a lot about Jordan Peterson,
sure,
is it fair to say that you disagree with some of his takes here?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's so many smart people that can make contributions, but a lot of times you get into an arena, right, that I've been specifically in for more than 10 years. I see it. I'm in it. They have their expertise on things. And, of course, Dr. Oz more than Peterson on this. But Peterson's been through his own health issues. So, yes, I'm excited to comment and give where I see things a little differently than they do.
Well, I think this is going to be a thought-provoking video. And I hope and expect that there's going to be some really good takeaways and benefits for you guys in this reaction video.
Yeah. And before we move into that, I wanted to thank everybody for getting my book. We've had the best month ever, and it's just halfway through the month, so people are starting to notice our book. It's interesting to me, 4-to-1 people get the paperback rather than the Kindle. I'm a huge Kindle guy. All my books I get on Kindle, so I got them all with me, but 4-to-1,
interesting,
they're getting it on in paperback over Kindle, and we're getting purchases from Canada and Australia and Germany. You need your mind changed. This is going to help you do that with the mindset and the way you think.
Link is in the description. Jump on that, and thank you all for subscribing, supporting, sharing this content. It's been a great month for YouTube overall, and we're both very grateful.
We're really growing quickly, and I'm grateful for you guys for that. Thanks for sharing our content.
Right on. All right. Clip number 1. Let's go.
And people who are overweight have trouble exercising.
Right.
They don't sleep well. That's another a building block of your health. And oftentimes people overweight feel shame.
Yes. Well, we've made it a moral issue, and even my attitude towards that has shifted a lot in the last 10 years. When I see someone overweight now on the street, I would say probably 15 years ago, I was slightly more judgmental. I'm not a particularly judgmental person when it comes to people's health, because it's generally very complicated. But it was easy enough to think, well, if they just exercised more and ate right, they do fine. And then I learned I learned many of the things that you just described, broadened my knowledge in that area and started to understand that these high carbohydrate diets were making people obese. And that was as simple as that.
All right, so we're starting off with the bang.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Jordan Peterson seems very empathetic. Would we consider what he just said there overly empathetic?
Yeah, it's interesting because he's usually very hard hitting, and he said he used to be a little more judgmental, and he said, I'm not a very judgmental guy. Some people want zero judgment. They're like, well, who are you to say anything about anybody, right? And suddenly nothing matters. So I'm not going to go there, right? Things matter. You've got to build, in order to help someone, you need in some way to judge them. You have to. I'm making a judgment about this situation. People call me. I do phone assessments. I love it. They want my judgment. And I tell them in the beginning, I'm going to ask you some questions and I'm going to tell you what you need to do because things you're doing aren't working. You're judging that behavior. People take judging as this horrible thing you would ever do to anybody. You got to reframe that. How are you helping people without that?
Let's move into, he said, I'm realizing, because I am refraining from so much of my judgments because I'm realizing it's this high carb diet.
He said it's very complicated.
He said it's very complicated. He said it's more than just blah, blah, blah.
And he said it's caused by a high carb diet.
All right, here we go.
Because he used to think it's just exercise more and eat less. Right? That's kind of what he said. And he used to just do that.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing it's this.
Sick him, Trainer Joe. Sick him.
Woo! Man.
Sick him, Trainer Joe.
Okay. It is in some ways complicated, but in other ways it's not. It does come down to exercise more and eat less. Please don't turn it off because I said that. Because people get so upset. It's not just, no, that if you can do that, that works. So what is complicated is getting you to do that. Exercising more and eat less or better. You can say better, but it's less crap, right? So it is that. It is that uncomplicated. If you would move more and eat better, problem is solved. So what they're saying, but it's more complicated than that is, well, you got to have some self-worth. Well, you got to make sure you have the time. Well, you got to know a little bit about your body. Well, you have to know a little bit about food. We have to know a little bit about exercise. Yeah, life. There's life. You got to know some things you got in order to do this, but ultimately it is just do this. And a lot of people know enough. That's why I love how people respond to my program, to these, because we're giving them something they need.
Yeah.
We are providing part of what he's saying is complicated. We're dealing with the part that says, okay, you know these things. What's it going to take to begin living this and doing this? And I feel like that's where we're coming in and helping people, because a big part of it is just being motivated enough to go one more day. And they're going to get to that. They're going to admit here in a minute.
Okay. Let's play it.
You need to do it. You just need to do it.
Let's play it. But all in all, it is, I'll be honest, I have friends that hold Jordan Peterson in just ridiculously high esteem.
Ridiculous.
And I'm not even saying he doesn't deserve to be. I've heard some clips and I'm like, man, he is sharp. Man, he's refreshing.
Some look at him like the answer to everything, and I do think he's good.
Right. But so to hear
the answer
you
there.
kind of say here, like, Jordan,
They're going back and forth. It's complicated, but then you're going to hear Dr. Oz say,
all right, well, let's go.
Yeah,
let's
go
play
with
the
it.
next clip.
Well, I read a study at one point that suggested that one soda a day is sufficient to cause the obesity epidemic.
It's true. And let me explain. That's really important. You
Yeah.
brought that up.
Yeah, well,
That's a-
that's nothing, right? That's not even much of a bad habit by all
160
appearances.
calories. 160 calories.
Right.
That's not the problem. Your body is looking for nutrients. Your brain, very wisely, is disregarding caloric intake, only focusing on the nutrient density of what it's getting. Because that's what it uses to build muscle and hormones and brain and everything else. So when you take in a soft drink, your brain doesn't count that as food because it's not getting what it's looking for. And yet the calories still add on. And the high fructose corn syrup actually sort of stimulates a bunch of processes that are also maladaptive, but getting full, feeling satiated is not one of them.
Right, right.
So there were a few things said there, but just the beginning of that clip, he read a study that one soda a day is sufficient to the reason for the obesity epidemic, or a reason
Enough to cause it.
enough to cause it. What do you think about that? And then someone said, well, it's like 140 calories of crap ultimately.
Yeah, I like that section. I think Dr. Oz is onto something when he says your body doesn't count that because you didn't give it any nutrition. And I do think there is, when we are getting sufficient nutrition, our body is going to be more satisfied. So how do you get somebody to look at that? We had a lady on our YouTube comment recently, and she likes our channel, and she said, I haven't given up soda altogether, sugared soda. She said, but I've cut back. And I responded, hey, that's progress. But if you're trying to lose weight, why not just give it up? When you're at the happy weight, then have a little.
Wow.
But doesn't that make sense? It's like, why are you having something that's obviously a contributor? Because 160 calories does justify about 15 pounds of weight. That is, 15 pounds of your weight is coming from that Coke. So if you have two of them, 30 pounds of your weight is coming from that. So 2 or 3 little things a day can be the cause of the obesity
So
epidemic.
they were really onto something.
Yeah,
there.
of course, because what you eat matters. And if you're having a few too many things, people don't have to eat and drink a ton to be overweight.
And that's why it's so painful for me to see so many of my brethren, other Americans, feeling ill, thinking it's their fault and thinking there's no way out. The nihilism around health is stunning. And I'm laser focused on longevity, wellness issues, because there's so much opportunity there. You know, not just because we've got AI now that can customize recommendations for you just exactly what you need, including when you hear the recommendation, because you're not always receptive equally. But we also have much better technologies that are available that can help you get on the right path. There's medications that in some instances make sense, but these are all crutches that fundamentally to get you to realize that you can do it, to empower you, the person whose ultimate destiny is so tied to your own will.
Did you catch that? So they're going into all these issues, and I'm going to touch on those, but I got to get to the very end part where he says, and ultimately they're all crutches to help you see that you can do it.
You're loving Dr.
It's
Oz.
tied to your own will. But to me, they're sending a little bit of a mixed message, because I think you need to start with,
I see.
you can do it, period. And if anybody's going to be to blame, it's going to have to be, who you going to blame ultimately if this doesn't get done? And they're like, there's shame and don't blame anybody. I'm sorry. There is, as they said, there's information, there's technology. You can have AI take certain ingredients, like on our food list, and I tell people in my group, hey, ask AI to make your meals from the ingredients that I provide you.
Which his food list
It's amazing.
Food list is in his book.
It's in my book. And you can do all that. So ultimately, if it doesn't happen, who's to blame here? And I don't care. When Jordan Peterson said, I'm a little judgmental toward people, I get that. And what Dr. Oz just said here, basically he said, I see that, and I see such an opportunity. That's me. When I see somebody and they're obese or morbidly obese, I'm like, I see such an opportunity for them.
It's tough because it's this two-part, and we addressed it in the Jillian Michaels Joe Rogan video. Go watch that one that we dropped last week. A lot of interesting conversation in that. But it's this two-part of like, this big food is what Jillian called it, is out to get us. Like, it's a nefarious money-making endeavor.
Yeah, it's nefarious, yes.
They do not care about us. They do not care about us. In fact, they just want us to get us eating more of their crap. And so there's this like idea of, well, what Jordan and Dr. Oz are saying there, we're not totally to blame and we shouldn't be carrying this shame, because when you look at all these factors, like, many of us, we don't realize that drinking that soda and what we're eating and blah, blah, blah. But then at the end of the day, who are we going to blame? Are we going to blame that we kept getting kind of deceived and we were eating
McDonald's,
all these
Coca-Cola,
carbs, all these bad carbs that weren't providing nutrition? Are we going to keep blaming them? Or do we know enough? It's where we got to kind of look inward.
Come on, you all. Hey, anybody watching this right now, I'm telling you right now, you need to step up, quit blaming everybody. Get the help you need. It's on here. It's on YouTube, and it's free. And if you decide that free is not enough, you want somebody to hold your hand and walk with you, we're here for that too. And I just had somebody the other day say, I really need to do this. And I'm like, bro, okay. I mean, they're dying, and I'm like, okay, I got free videos, I got a book, I got a program, I got phone calls. I'm here for that. And I'm not the only one. It is there for you.
Yeah.
Now, you do have to be at a place, a good enough place in your life that this matters, because someone like my kids are just a mess. This doesn't matter enough to me right now. I get that.
Yeah.
And that does you do need to get to at least enough stability in your life that says, you know what? I want to live longer. I'm willing to make some sacrifice. But some people are in a place where it's just like too much havoc. I understand that, but you're going to have to get to the place where you're like, okay, this is important enough for me to invest in. Because ultimately it's going to be you decided to do it or you didn't. As hard as that might sound. Now, come on.
Say that again. Ultimately, it's
you decided to do it or you didn't.
And when you decide to do it, you're going to find the path to success.
Yes.
You're going to find the path to success.
Yes.
And you're going to eliminate those excuses. But if you are still wavering, your commitment, as the quote goes, if your commitment is still wavering,
it's because your belief is deficient.
And
it's not because you don't have the willpower or the ability.
And rather than finding the path to success, you're going to find excuses which keep coming at you and keeping you from that success and keeping you overweight.
So what do we have to say about that?
My voice is cracking. I'm getting emotional.
Start believing and don't stop
believing. Journey. Guys, comment below. What were your thoughts here? Are you a fan of Jordan Peterson or Dr. Oz? And particularly some of the critiques, particularly that Trainer Joe had of these clips. Did you agree? Do you empathize and feel like, well, no, here's where I think they're coming from and I agree with them? Or are you like, Trainer Joe, once again,
did we nail it?
Did we nail it? Because I like seeing...
I think we nailed it.
Obviously, we like seeing those comments where they're like, Trainer Joe, you just spoke the truth. You just spoke the truth. We love those. All right, guys. Until our next video. Once again, if you're watching this but you haven't subscribed, but you're watching every week, go ahead and show some love and subscribe, and then you'll get that notification immediately when we drop a new video. Trainer Joe, train your brain.
And transform your body.